background the sound of my IRA being ground into dust, I still want to thank Martin and Michelle for inviting me to speak here, and I think they've been doing a great job on getting around the applause. It's terrific so far for me. The driving movie last night was wonderful, and of course Larry and Ed were a million laughs too, so that was a whole lot of fun. My name is Paul Adamitis. I'm a historian and writer. Which one I'm wearing, which cap I'm wearing on each day kind of depends on what my clients are asking me to do on a given day. But my focus has been baseball. I published my first baseball book in 1990 and have been involved with baseball books ever since. The one thing I've found out is the world of baseball literature is a very small world. Most of us know each other. If you've written a baseball book, I probably know you, and you probably have heard of me somewhere along the line. So it's kind of a collegial community, which is very much like baseball. Makes a lot of sense to me. Most of us of a certain age, and this is funny, like I use that quote a lot more and more as time goes on, we grew up on baseball. We played it. We played it on real fields with uniforms and everything, but more often on makeshift diamonds and made-up games in our backyards, throwing the ball against the wall, 21. If you caught it a line drive, it was 7 points. If you caught it one hop, it was 5. We all remember that stuff. Even more so, we were fans of the game as well as players of the game. We followed it. We were devoted. Mostly the professional teams. Some of us were college fans, depending on where you live. But major leagues and minor leagues, we had a team that we followed, most of us did. And thanks to baseball cards, we knew our players, both by sight and by stat. And we also played other baseball games. We played Stratomatic. Stratomatic was a very, very good, very, very popular game. I was actually a big fan of APBA, ABPA, which brought out a new set of cards every year based upon the player's stats from the year before. So you could replay the entire season if you wanted and see if the stats matched up. And they were pretty accurate. We also decided to make cards for ourselves, myself and 2 friends. And maybe we didn't quite know the formula so well because I hit 82 home runs one year. And I was pitching, I believe my record was 27-1, but you know, there's minor mistakes. As a matter of fact, we were so serious about APBA that if you had a left-handed batter up, you had to roll the dice cut with your left hand. If you had a right-handed batter, you had to roll with your right hand. And one day, I was playing with my friend Bill from across the street when Belinda, 2 doors down, came up to watch us play, and she was holding Bill's hand. Precocious young woman. And so he threw a home run by Elston Howard left-handed. I said, no, that doesn't count. You have to throw it right-handed because Elston Howard is a right-handed batter. As a matter of fact, I had the 61 set of cards, which had Clemente's great year where he hit 357, won batting title. Of course, that was the year Maris had 61 home runs. And found out not many years back that on eBay, that's a very, very valuable set of APBA cards. So I checked to see if I still had it. It was there. Except that I remembered we had lent the Clemente and Maris cards to a friend of my brother, who is long gone. So I will tell you now, if you ever come across a big soft mechanic, I want you to tell him I want those 2 cards back. I should go retire from that. But the things that are different about baseball today from when it was then, it's not just the number of teams. There are almost twice as many teams now as there were. There was a spiritual connection to our baseball teams then. There was an emotional connection. There was a financial connection. These guys weren't that far above us. I remember walking into a golfing range, and Bill Mazeroski was standing there, and I was taller than he was. I mean, you know, they're supposed to be giants. They aren't. They're normal-sized people. And so we had a deep connection with these folks. Another way things have changed is the way we're most familiar with is that nowadays the ball clubs are owned by billionaires, and we use our tax dollars to let them have ballparks for free, so they can charge $25 for a cheap seat, $8 for a beer, and $5 for a hot dog, so they can pay a useless middle infield sub $5 million a year. Thanks a lot. We're real happy about that.
And then they charge us for autographs.
Yeah, you can charge for autographs on top of it. I mean, $3 million is about the average salary for a major league player nowadays. My dad worked his whole life, worked very hard. He didn't make $3 million his whole life. And unless something really cool happens to me real soon, Neither will I. Now, baseball is still fun to watch. I mean, a good double play, pick-off play, you know, a walk-off hit, they're still fun there, but it just doesn't matter like it used to matter to us when we were younger. I mean, Babe Ruth held the lifetime home run record for 53 years. He was called a spendthrift, a drunk, and a sexaholic. He was never indicted for lying to a federal grand jury about injecting himself in the butt to artificially pump up his muscles. Ty Cobb was a dirty player. Some would say evil, who always fought for the edge, on and off the field. But he never held out in order to sign a contract that paid him 200 times what the average American worker made. Grover Cleveland Alexander was a certifiable alcoholic. When he found himself too blasted to drink, to physically drink, he would rub the gin into his skin. This guy had a major problem, but he was a great pitcher. And he never announced he was going into shutdown mode because he wasn't the most highest paid player on the team. You know, when Ken Burns made his epic TV documentary, Baseball, he tried to make the point that baseball and America were so closely intertwined, they're almost the same thing. I tend to agree. What do we see in baseball today? Greed, arrogance, a public be damned attitude, and now even instant replay. Just what we need. One anecdote about instant replay. One of my idols in baseball history, Bill Beck, was the owner of the Cleveland Indians in 1948 when they went to the World Series for the first time in 28 years. They were playing Milwaukee Braves, who had never been to the World Series. This was a very big thing for two smaller town teams. The very first game, nothing shutout into the 8th inning, when Phil Macy, who, I don't know if he was catching that game or if he was just a pinch hitter, got on base, was bunted to second base. Bob Feller whirled and picked him off second right as far. Unfortunately, he also picked off the umpire, Bill Stewart. Didn't see the play, called him safe. Ruckus. Fans make all kinds of noise. They went to Bill Beck the next day with the photograph and said, look, what do you think about this? You know, the umpire completely missed that play. And Beck said, it's a baseball game. It's not supposed to be perfect. Now, can you imagine anyone saying that today? So is it still possible to enjoy this game, even to love this game? Well, I mean, is the Pope a Yankee fan? I mean, do the Cubs sign autographs in the woods? Of course they do. As a matter of fact, because nostalgia, which is all why we're here, this is the best time ever to be a fan of baseball in the past. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. One of the things that's cool about that is that even the recent past is great. I mean, it's history. It's a famous rule if you're going to be creating a trivia contest, and you have really smart baseball heads on asking questions. Don't ask them questions about 1859, because they'll know that. Ask them questions about last week, because that hasn't become part of history yet. But as soon as it is yesterday, it does become history. For example, last year's Colorado Rockies, 2007 Colorado Rockies, were a terrific story. They won 13 of their last 14 games to finish in a tie for the wild card. I mean, they weren't guaranteed anything yet. In the wild card game, they beat the man who was the lifetime career leader in saves, who had a 2-run lead at the time in the 9th inning, to win that game, to become the wild card team. From then on in, they won 7 straight games against other division winners to advance to the World Series. The problem was, they'd done it too fast. They had 8 days off until the World Series started. They forgot how to play. They got swept in 4 games, never in any of the games against the Red Sox. That's a great story. That was only last year. Now, last year, were you all sitting with your eyes glued to your television set to catch every inning of that? No, neither was I. But now that it's gone, it's a wonderful story to tell.
And everybody remembers A-Rod opting out during the series.
Pardon?
I said everybody remembers A-Rod opting out during the series.
Oh, yeah,
Sometimes
exactly.
that's a bigger memory.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. A couple things here. There's a bunch of handouts here, including my card. So if anyone has any questions, you want to email me, my email address is on the fine, be happy to talk to you about it. I also have a list down there of baseball museums. That's I think there's 34 or something we've been able to find, which is an interesting list. And also there's a list of baseball historical websites. So you can grab those,